Count it all joy, Charles is back online. The Equally Yoked Show. Get yoked for free. Count it all joy, Charles is back online. The Equally Yoked Show. Get yoked for free. Count it all joy, Charles is back online.
Welcome back to the podcast. This is the Equally Yoked Show. Honored to be with you today. We've got Trump releasing the Epstein files, or actually signing the bill into law to release the Epstein files. Obviously, this is breaking news today. We're going to go over and jump straight to his Truth Social. Now, we're going to look at this and analyze the different things that we've been seeing over the last couple of days. And of course, the political landscape is absolutely crazy right now. And so what we're looking at with this Epstein stuff and everything that is happening, we've seen Pam Bondi. I mean, she so far looks like she has egg on her face because of what has happened with her and with what she said concerning the Epstein files, according to this phase one, which is very interesting that she's sort of now almost changing her position, trying to, say that it's because of new evidence. And we'll get to that clip in a moment, but otherwise, this is Trump's Truth Social. Now, before we read this, I just want to say thanks so much for being here. Subscribe to the podcast. And if you guys haven't yet, if you guys want to communicate your thoughts to me, email us freedom@equallyyokeshow.com. And we're going to jump right into this in a moment. As you guys join in, let me know where you're watching from and let me know what time it is so I can get an idea as to where my audience is coming from, because it's always very interesting when it comes to just who the audience is. And I appreciate you guys for being here, for joining me in this podcast as we uncover all of the different things relating to the Epstein files. And so as you guys just join in, thanks so much for being here. Look, this is the Truth Social post that Donald Trump posted today. Dead Man Lives, welcome back. Glad to have you, brother. Jeffrey Epstein, who was charged by the Trump Justice Department in 2019, not the Democrats, was a lifelong Democrat, donated thousands of dollars to Democrat politicians, and was deeply associated with many well-known Democrat figures, such as Bill Clinton, who traveled on his plane 26 times. Larry Summers, who's looking terrible, he's just in a terrible position right now. Actually, there's a video circulating of him in his opening statement to his class in a college that he teaches at, I believe. If we can get this clip for you today, I'll bring it before you guys so you guys can see what exactly is going on, but who just resigned from many boards, including Harvard, sleazebag political activist Reid Hoffman, minority leader Hakeem Jeffries, who asked Epstein to donate to his campaign after Epstein was charged. Then he goes on to say Democrat Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett and many more. Perhaps the truth about these Democrats and their associations with Jeffrey Epstein will soon be revealed because I have just signed the bill to release the Epstein files. As everyone knows, I asked the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and Senate Majority Leader John Thune to pass this bill in the House and Senate respectively, because of this request. The votes were almost unanimous in favor of passage. At my direction, the Department of Justice has already turned over close to 50,000 pages of documents to Congress. Do not forget, the Biden administration did not turn over a single file or a page related to Democrat Epstein, nor did they ever even speak about him. Democrats have used the Epstein issue, which affects them far more than the Republican Party, in order to try and distract from our amazing victories, including the great big beautiful tax cut bill, strong borders, no men in women's sports, or transgender for everyone, including DEI, stopping Biden's record-setting inflation, lowering prices, biggest tax and regulation cuts in history, ending 8 wars, rebuilding our military, knocking out Iran's nuclear capability, getting trillions of dollars invested in the USA, creating the hottest country anywhere in the world, and even delivering a huge defeat to the Democrats on the recent shutdown disaster. For years, our great nation has had to endure Russia, Ukraine, impeachment hoax 1, impeachment hoax 2, many other Democrat-created witch hunts and scams, all of which have been so terrible and divisive for our country and have been done to confuse, deflect, and distract from the great job that Republicans and the Trump administration are doing. The latest hoax will backfire on Democrats just as all of the rest have. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. Now, guys, when he calls this a hoax, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt in saying that this is a hoax when it comes to the Democrats and what they're trying to make this out to be. Not that Epstein and him violating young girls as a hoax. You can see by the many conversations, even the ones where he's deflecting, or even the ones where he's kind of brushing it off or seems to brush it off, other than this being a terrible, terrible act. So guys, with all of this information coming out, it is true that I would actually say this should have come out from the very beginning. And even when the Democrats were in power, it would have been better if the Republicans were indeed pushing for the Epstein files to be released. I don't remember during that time if anybody was advocating for these files to be released during that time, any conservatives or any Republicans. I wasn't as involved as I am now in this sort of what's going on politically in America, but things have shifted dramatically. And so we have people like Pam Bondi, who's giving this lackadaisical response to the release of these files. And it's quite unfortunate because when she was, prior to getting sworn into office, what she was doing is she was saying, we've got the files that are on my desk. And she was, talking about being a great leader for the DOJ. Now, maybe she's doing a good job, but the majority of Americans actually say, no, she's actually not doing a good job at all. So what she's saying now is she will follow the law when she's asked about the Epstein files. Now she's really looking like she has egg on her face. But the DOJ and the FBI had said they're going to provide full transparency even after the 300 gigabytes of data that they sifted through. They found really nothing other than CP, other than C-SPAM. I think it's C-SPAM or C-SAM. I think it's C-SAM. Other than C-SAM. And that's about it. That's all they found. There's no Epstein client list. There's really no Epstein files, nothing to see here. And then they just say, let's stop talking about it now. A little strange, but this is Pam Bondi. Let's take a look.
Go ahead, and off topic.
On the Epstein files, does the new investigation by the Southern District of New York U.S. Attorney prevent the department from releasing all of the remaining files?
So we have released over 33,000 Epstein documents to the Hill, and we'll continue to follow the law and to have maximum transparency. Also, we will always encourage all victims to come forward.
What are the next steps, Madam Attorney General, for the DOJ regarding what we assume President Trump will sign into law with the Epstein files? Is this going to be on the Justice Department website? What are you doing here over the next 30 days as we understand it?
We will continue to follow the law with maximum transparency while protecting victims.
When you say follow the law, Madam Attorney General, do you mean that you will provide all the files by 30 days?
We will follow the law. The law passed both chambers last evening. It has not yet been signed, but we will continue to follow the law, again, while protecting victims, but also providing maximum transparency.
Madam Attorney General.
Now, look, maybe this is me, but she looks a little bit flustered when it comes to these questions. Like something's going on. What is exactly, it just causes you to think, what exactly is in these files? What are in these files? What are we going to find? What's going to come out? Is it going to make the Republicans look bad? Is it going to make the Democrats look bad? Is it going to make both look bad? Look, let's let the chips fall where they may, and let's have all of this. Let's have those that are involved in this scandal, because what we've seen about Epstein, based on what is available, is that he was clearly somebody to be utilized as really a monster, but to blackmail people in politics, world leaders. So this is interesting. What we're going to see, I don't know what's in there. Obviously, you guys don't know what's in there, obviously, but there's so much speculation going on that we've got to talk about this stuff.
The DOJ statement earlier this year saying that the files would not release mentioned the fact that the review of the documents and the evidence did not suggest that any additional investigation of third parties was warranted.
And what she says next is, I just don't believe her. I really don't.
What changed since then that you launched this investigation?
Information that has come for information. There's new information, additional information, and again, we will continue to follow the law, to investigate any leads. If there are any victims, we encourage all victims to come forward, and we will continue to provide maximum transparency under the law.
Wedding, Madam General. On Ryan Wedding, you mentioned,
Madam Attorney
Sure,
General,
Kelly.
the issue with the new information that you just indicated, is the department seeking information perhaps from the Epstein estate, because Mr. Blanche did not have that information when he interviewed Ghislaine Maxwell? What new information, and would you limit the new investigation to just those named persons that the president talked about, or is this a broad, open-ended investigation?
I would refer to the Deputy Attorney General's post that he put out on X, and we're not going to say anything else on that because now it is a pending investigation.
Now, honestly, I don't think she has much answers, or she doesn't know what to say, because she knows what she had said in the past, and now she's getting questioned on really on her integrity, on her character, possibly. I mean, and not questions based on her integrity and character, but you know that these questions are referring back to what she has said in the past. And so now she just looks like a liar. This is not good. So what comes out of this? What begins to unfold as within the next 30 days? We'll see. We'll see. So we're going to continue on here because we have Andy Biggs, who's exonerating Stacey Plackett for texting Epstein during hearing and calls for reprimand. This is interesting because if you guys had seen this video clip, this is Stacey Plackett as she is questioning one of Trump's guys. And the Wall Street Journal, or the Washington Post rather, they timed it up. And they synced all the texts up. And she's getting mocked here at the first, right? This is Epstein saying, "Are you chewing?"
President of the United States. And while we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question, you helped out the president's campaign or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They
and
are.
Are there other people that we should be meeting with?
So Alan Weisselberg is the chief financial officer.
Uh-huh.
The
You got to
Trump
quickly give us
organization.
as many names as you can so we can get to them.
Yes, ma'am.
As Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's position?
Rona Graff is Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot that went on.
Saying good work. Giving her pointers on what to say next, what to do next. Now we're going to look at Jasmine's response here in this next clip. I think it's absolutely hilarious. We're going to get to this clip here. And here we go. This is her speaking on this matter. And she sounds like a liar. She sounds like she's trying to cover her own tracks. She's trying to cover her rear because of the nonsense that she was caught. She was caught with her pants down.
To Mr. Raskin, to my former professor in law school, and I want to address the body. I first want to give you all a sense of what was happening that day. Everyone knows at that hearing in February, the entire country was watching. As Michael Cohen decided he was going to finally give up information about what was happening in the Trump world, the Trump enterprise. And at the beginning of that hearing, the ranking member, Jim Jordan, had the disrespect to Elijah Cummings, may he rest in peace and his name be a memory, after not allowing Mr. Jordan to shut the committee hearing down. And I turned to Mr. Jordan.
Somebody said agreed, but how do you prove it? She proves it. She says it herself. She says, and many others as well who are also coming to her defense saying, this is not, since when has it been the law where you can't text people? She's going to go on and she's going to try to exonerate herself here. She's going to look really bad. Just wait for it.
And told him to have respect for the chair and to basically shut up. And that moment went viral. And I began to get innumerable texts from friends, from foes, from constituents about what was happening in that hearing. And I got a text from Jeffrey Epstein.
See, so she tells us that she got the text from Jeffrey Epstein. She says it plain and clear. This is how we prove it.
Who at the time was my constituent, who was not public knowledge at that time.
Right? Somebody says it's a lie. He was charged long before the text. Yes, he was charged. And even Donald Trump mentions as well that under the Trump administration, Jeffrey Epstein was charged.
That he was under federal investigation, and who was sharing information with me. Now, I heard recently from someone that I was seeking advice from him. Let me tell you something. I don't need to get advice on how to question anybody from any individual.
Yet she took it. She took the advice and she ran with it.
I have been a lawyer for 30 years. I have been a narcotics prosecutor in New York City. I have had the honor of being a political appointee at the Justice Department after September 11th as a Republican appointee in the Bush administration. I know how to question individuals. I know how to seek information. I have sought information from confidential informants, from murderers, from other individuals.
Just wait for it.
Because I want the truth, not because I need them to tell me what to say. And if you look at the transcript, you will see that I questioned Michael Cohen for 5 minutes. The Washington Post only shows you 30 seconds.
30 seconds for the video clip? It's way longer than that, first of all. But still, doesn't matter, 30 seconds. She took the bait. She went for it.
And takes from it one individual's name that I got from Jeffrey Epstein and didn't know who the individual was, and put that individual with a host of other individuals that I felt the committee should subpoena.
Release those
They've
texts.
never been subpoenaed. They've never been questioned. Because at the end of the day, I know that in the Trump administration and with my colleagues over there, it's not about sexual assault. It's not about support of victims. It's about money. It is about money. I have consistently stood against sexual violence and the exploitation of women and children in previous careers as well as here in this body. We all know that Jeffrey Epstein's actions were absolutely reprehensible.
If they're absolutely reprehensible, then why are you taking advice from Jeffrey Epstein and taking his texts and then questioning Mr. Cohen? Anyway, this is funny because this is Hakeem Jeffries, who, according to the emails, according to what has been found so far, is that they were seeking money from Jeffrey Epstein. Here we go.
Controversy emerged.
I mean, what he's being asked, have you spoken to Stacey Plaskett?
I have not.
Can you confirm if there was a deal last night to sink the resolution against Congressman Plaskett in exchange for not bringing us into resolution?
We've made clear repeatedly we're not going to unilaterally disarm.
So you're saying there was no deal?
I'm saying we will not unilaterally disarm. Not now, not ever.
Mr. Leader, why wouldn't you speak to Stacey Plaskett? I mean,
I said I haven't spoken to her since the Central Resolution went down.
No, about this text controversy.
I have not spoken to her since the Central Resolution went down.
Have you talked to her about this text controversy?
She and I have talked, and it's a private conversation that will remain private.
One of the things Republicans are talking about is this $2,000 stimulus checks from.
But in another video, he says the opposite. I'll have to get that clip for you. We played it on yesterday's broadcast. You know what? I'm going to pull it up right now. Get you that clip. If you guys are just joining in, thanks so much for being here. This is the Equally Yoked Show. Glad to have you. Subscribe to the podcast. Email me your thoughts, freedom@equallyokedshow.com. We're going over the Epstein stuff, the Epstein files. And of course, Trump signed the bill into law to release the files. And this is obviously big because we've been waiting on this for quite some time. This has been quite the topic of conversation when it comes to not only the government shutdown, but of course, everything that has been happening surrounding the Trump administration. It's always been about Epstein, 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 Epstein. Okay? This is big. And so Hakeem Jeffries, yeah, we're going to have to find that clip for you because it's going to take a minute to just sift through some of this stuff. So I want to go over with there's a lot of interesting stuff coming out about the Epstein files. And this is actually Plaskett on CNN talking about this very same issue. And let's hear her again, once again, talking about this instance of these text messages. Here we go.
I believe that Jeffrey Epstein had information, and I was going to get information to get at the truth.
This is not what she said, mind you. The video we just saw, this is not what she said. And what she says at the end of this clip will blow your mind.
Having a real friendship with him is not something that I would deem to have. And so I'm just looking forward. I'm moving forward. And I think that that's what we as American people should do, is move forward. If individuals are not involved in illegal activity, extending his criminal enterprise or his financial enterprise or all of those things, I think that we need to look at what people are doing moving forward.
Wait, let me just better understand that. What is that point? Because at the time he was a known sex offender and it had been detailed all the sexual abuse.
There are a lot of people who have done a lot of crimes, and as a prosecutor, you get information from people where you can.
You get information from people where you can. These are her exact words. A little bit different of what she said in the House. A little bit different, right? Sounds different? It's because it is. She's trying to exonerate herself. She's trying to make this right by saying, look, I was just trying to get some information. And it doesn't matter who it is, because a lot of people have done crimes. And as a prosecutor, you're going to get information from people where you can, especially if it's Jeffrey Epstein. Now, this is Anna Paulina Luna. She's bringing out some heat. Let's check this clip out.
For what purpose does the gentlelady from Florida seek recognition?
I have a parliamentary inquiry.
The gentlelady from Florida will state her inquiry.
I was wondering if the Speaker of the House of Representatives can explain why leadership on both sides, both Democrat and Republican, are cutting back-end deals to cover up public corruption in the House of Representatives from both Republican and Democrat members of Congress.
The gentlelady has not stated a proper parliamentary inquiry.
Thank you very much, but I think the American people know what happened tonight.
Oh, she got him. She went straight for the throat. Wow. Wow. The stuff that we're seeing come out, we're really going to see, we're going to see a lot come out of this. And there's going to be a huge divide within the Republican Party, within the Democrat Party, depending on what's inside, who knows? But we want accountability. Those in the chat, you guys want accountability. Come on. Come on. Now, what's strange is that we have Mike Johnson, who's trying to maybe, I don't know, is he trying to protect the victims and whatever he's going on about here? It doesn't fit. It doesn't sit right. Now, I want to have the benefit of the doubt, of course, because he is a brother in Christ. But if he is indeed not practicing things that are scriptural, he has to be called out on it. Because he's looking a little bit nervous when he's trying to, I don't think he's convincing himself. I really don't. But we'll see, because he has some concerns saying that this is dangerous, releasing specific information. And we'll get to his clip right here. And here we go.
Daily calendars and so much more. But importantly, none of that was addressed or is addressed in the legislation that's being voted on today. The estate files wouldn't even have been encompassed in that. And so it goes to show that the Oversight Committee is doing it from the right way. From the very beginning, we've been insistent that this matter be handled carefully and with the utmost caution and care for the people who have been harmed. They should not be made to suffer any longer. We're talking about real people's lives at stake here, and young victims who don't want to be dragged into this political game that could get hurt further. But the Democrats are rushing the release of thousands of unsubstantiated documents that may be included in this, that are going to be in the public domain with the passage of this bill.
Now, he says, of course, in the name of national security. Look, we just got to have these lies exposed. We're tired of the lies. Whatever's going on, it needs to be exposed, of course. But he's going to continue on. And look, understandably, those that don't want to be, now there has been some victims that have come forward. Of course, they want these files to be released, but there has been a few, and maybe they've changed their mind. Have been a few where they're saying they don't want the files to be released. And they just want to see them. They just want to see these files themselves.
And there are serious deficiencies in the legislation that I have noted at length, and Republicans have to work to address those deficiencies in the Senate if and when this legislation is advanced. I stood before the American public today at our press conference, and I explained in detail the dangers of the discharge petition. We have posted at my website, speaker.gov, a summary. The legal counsel, a small army of lawyers, put this together. I used to be a federal court litigator. Many of my colleagues who have spoken today were. We understand the dangers of how this was haphazardly drawn up. And among them, by the way, Mr. Speaker, before I forget, I seek unanimous consent to enter into this document into the record. It's on the website. It's entitled, How the Flaws of H.R. 4405 Could Re-Victimize Epstein's Victims, Create New Victims, and Damage the Judicial System. It is dated today. Thank you. And it summarizes just 5 or 6 of the major concerns. Among them, it fails to fully protect victim privacy. It could create new categories of victims. It potentially jeopardizes grand jury secrecy. It fails to prohibit release of child sexual abuse materials that are not appropriately defined in the legislation. It jeopardizes future federal investigations, and we have national security concerns regarding classified information. We'll put this in the record because we need the legislative record to reflect what is the legislative intent behind this vote. I used to litigate cases. We would litigate federal statutes and whether or not they could survive, and legislative intent is important. And we need to say clearly for the record, as a Speaker of the House, I'm saying to you, this legislation that will pass today is flawed and it must be amended. The question is, why didn't we amend it here before we passed it? Because the authors won't allow it.
Now, he indeed, at the end of this speech, he said that he will go on to vote yes for this. And of course, this was a overwhelming vote of pretty much everybody except one. And so we're going to continue on here, and I want to know your guys' thoughts concerning this. This is the Equally Yoked Show. Subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. We're going to be going over this next clip concerning, we're going to shift the sort of podcast to a couple of other things that I want to cover. Now, this is, of course, AOC and what she's talking about with the radicalization of young boys. We're going to go over this stuff and more. Of course, we got to talk about Zoran Mamdani and some updates concerning that man of New York. We'll do that right after this break. In the midst of everything that's going on in the world, I love when I can come home and gather around the dinner table and enjoy a nice meal with my family. Let me tell you about Good Ranchers. I'm excited because holidays are around the corner and I get to share our home-cooked meals with my family and friends. That's classic American burgers, sirloin steaks, spicy Chipotle chicken, but I wasn't always this excited. I used to think grocery store meat labeled product of the USA meant American-raised meat, until I found out that over 85% of grass-fed beef sold in America is imported. Good Ranchers is meat I can trust. It's 100% American, and all their cuts come from local farms and ranches. Subscribe today and get $40 off, plus free meat for life. Use promo code EquallyYoked. Go to goodranchers.com, promo code EquallyYoked. Look, my wife turned to me and she said, "I'm sorry, honey, but we can't go anywhere else. We've got to stick with Good Ranchers." And I said, you know what? You're right. Go to goodranchers.com, promo code EquallyYoked. Let's get back to the podcast. Now, it's funny. I want to mention one of the comments, YouTube Punk. This was something that was mentioned just before the stream ended yesterday. As you joined the stream, it was interesting. Now, I'm curious because the guy by the name of Not Jeremy Renner, who joins this chat every now and again, he actually mentioned He said that he saw you rooting for the other side in another stream. What is that about? What is going on here? Somebody in this chat also said you're a bot. Are you even from Texas? I'm just saying. Strange stuff here. Strange stuff happening. Let's continue on. We have AOC back at it again with the nonsense. And let's hear what she has to say. And notice the crowd that she's speaking to. Okay, notice the crowd.
And they are able to radicalize and target and exploit a generation of young boys, in particular, away from healthy masculinity and into an insecure masculinity that requires the domination of others who are poorer, browner, darker, or a different gender than them.
Notice the audience. All women. You got one guy back here, which I presume is a guy because of the beard, nodding his head no. I don't know what that is about. Who knows? But why are we making this? Look, she's talking and she's bringing race into the picture because she wants to propagate her propaganda, put it on the pedestal. It's all about race. We know who she's talking about. We know what color she's talking about. Radicalizing and exploiting young boys. You know what's interesting when we're talking about the radicalization of kids, people, adults, is this new information concerning Thomas Crooks. We went over this briefly on the last podcast, but there's some new information concerning Thomas Crooks and what is being revealed as to, at first, the FBI was saying that there was no information concerning Thomas Crooks, that his online activity completely just vanished. But there was new information that he had turned radical. So he was a huge Trump supporter. And then he switched 180. I think in January of 2020 or 2024. Somebody can correct me in the chat. But there's some radicalization happening, and some people are saying, and God bless you, Peepers, for the wonderful gift. And so, one sec. Let me address something here. YouTube Punk, maybe what I think what we're talking about with your comment, this was in reference to another guy named not Jeremy Renner, not Jerry, not the buddy. So we're going to continue on with this podcast, but otherwise, let's continue on with her messaging here.
And that is why they are resonating online, because they are appealing to the most basest and worst parts of human nature to divide.
That's AOC. Spreading more nonsense. And I want you guys to vote in the poll that we have going on. So far, 55 votes. Do you guys think we'll get full transparency? Now, an overwhelming 84% of you actually say no. And I might be in that category with you guys. I don't know if we're going to get full transparency. I just don't know. But the Democrats are really losing their spark. I don't think they don't know what their messaging is when they're trying to attract the American people. Now, of course, we have many Democrats in this chat. What exactly attracts you to the Democratic message? Because I think what we haven't been seeing lately is putting America first. And the only one that has been talking about this is the conservatives or Donald Trump. Putting America first. Now we're getting into this conversation, of course, about affordability. This is the new talking point, the new sticking point that will we'll probably begin to hear within a lot of politicians come midterm elections and in the elections for 2028 affordability, because we're seeing a lot of people not in favor for Trump, especially in the Hispanic population. There was a poll done and conducted by CNN talking about Trump losing 38 points with the Hispanics. And as we begin to see this economy shift, hopefully when all the dust settles with all this Epstein talk and everything that is going on, hopefully we come out this stronger. We should have said, look, we should have released these long ago if indeed Republicans were saying the truth, that there's really more information on the Democrats that makes them look bad. And what will be done about that? Will there be accountability? And that's what American people want. We saw no accountability with the Biden administration. And let's see what happens when it comes to the release of these Epstein files. And we'll get that for Christmas this year, tied up in a nice little bow. This is Zoran Mamdani. This is a post that says Zoran Mamdani plans to use $65 million to change children's genders. I mean, really, he's talking to, I forget this actress's name. She is from Orange is the New Black. What's her name? Her name.
And one of the things that we've said, beyond saying we're going to make this a sanctuary city for LGBTQIA plus workers, beyond saying that we're going to establish an office of LGBTQIA plus affairs, is also that we're going to provide $65 million in funding for gender-affirming care, the same amount of funding that the federal government threatened to pull out from local providers for that kind of work. And in this moment especially, if we want to fight the Trump administration, we have to do so by fully funding our own services, taxing the wealthiest New Yorkers and corporations here. And one of the
He uses that language again and again and again. We are going to continue to fight Trump on all of these instances, and everything on his policies, on the laws. His communication is, again, becoming more and more radical. He's now being open about it. And I'm really curious, because if he's practicing Islam, what do his fellow brothers and sisters think about this? Jerry, you mentioned, have y'all seen Obama's library and his DEI hires? I have not seen. I mean, I've seen the library, the sort of final product of it, but I have not seen anything about his DEI hires. I'd be interested in looking into that. But otherwise, this is Mamdani. And if those who know just even a little bit about Islam, you would know that they do not support at all LGBT, any of this stuff. And this is what we've got going on. This is Sheikh Uthman ibn Farouk, and he lives in America and threatens Americans. America will be a Muslim country. This is their own words. This is what they're saying. This is what their mindset is concerning America. And people aren't concerned about this.
The future is ours. Every ideal nightmare of a Muslim Europe will come true. They can be as mad as they want. I don't care. America will be a Muslim country. Russia will be a Muslim country. Islam will enter every house. We have to be a part of that change. We have to be a part of that da'wah. We have to be a part of those ghuraba who stand firm on our aqeedah and our practice and our deen and never, ever apologize. We're unapologetic. Never, ever compromise. We're uncompromising.
This is the same guy who says this.
That's a weird question, but it's easy. How is, let's take it back a step. When you have an intimate relationship with your wife or a woman with her husband, is that adultery? Well, no. Why is it not adultery? Because Allah made it halal. That's why. Right? Why is it that if somebody is not married and they have intimate relations, marital relations, that's considered zina, adultery, because Allah made that haram? That is the line between halal and haram. Zina and not zina, adultery and not adultery, right? So, Allah made the spousal relations between a husband and wife halal. And Allah made that those people taken under war, not regularly under war, as captives who were trying to kill you, that now you're going to support and keep in your house and spend on and treat well, that this is like a wife. This is somebody who you can have those relationships with. So if Allah made it halal, that is not zina. That is not adultery because Allah made it halal. That's the line. Such an easy question and try to make it seem like as if it's difficult. Go ahead.
You want a hard question?
Let me take a bite first.
Hard question?
Go ahead.
This guy thinks he's something cool now, so let's answer this one. Sheikh, this is a question where no imam has ever answered me and always avoid this question.
Oh, we're not going to avoid it. Go ahead.
How is have intimacy, nice English there, how is have intimacy with a slave not adultery and halal, but having intimacy with a non-slave adultery?
I think I know.
So I missed the question earlier, but that was the question. Okay. Well-known Islamic preacher in America says that if you capture a woman in war, you will make her a slave and you will be able to abuse her as you wish. This is Islam. And he said some other things on that same whatever podcast or question or whatever it is. And this is Representative Keith Self, who's concerned about Islam as well in Texas. Because as we know, there's 2 Sharia law courts in Texas, and they're growing. Just like what we see in the UK, it's growing more and more. There's way more Sharia law, unofficial Sharia law courts. And so people are saying, I notice you're judging Islam. Why not do Judaism? What are your thoughts on the Talmud? The Talmud is an oral tradition or oral traditions passed down. And this was a book written to keep these oral traditions because, as you know, a lot of the documents and a lot of stuff that was destroyed in 70 AD because of all the documents housed in the temple. And so they had to create what is known as the Talmud to pass down the written oral Torah, which what we've seen from the Talmud are essentially debates about Scripture. And what we've seen from modern day rabbis versus traditional rabbis is in many cases disagreements when it comes to Scripture and what certain passages may or may not mean. When we're talking about Judaism, Israel today, most of Israel is secular. Most of Israel does not believe in God. Take, I think, a good example that we can see right now. The founder of OpenAI, Sam Altman, is Jewish, but he doesn't consider himself, as he says, culturally Jewish. He just says that he's Jewish. And so, but he doesn't believe in God. He doesn't believe, and you can see this within the recent interview with Tucker Carlson, doesn't believe in God, but shares his ideas as how AI will replace God, essentially, because of the moral standard of humanity, that humanity will guide its sort of morality, that whatever OpenAI outputs will be if it deals with anything morally, that it will output what humanity's sort of morality is at that time, which could change and shift. But the only morality that we see that doesn't change, that doesn't shift, that of course God and what he says in his scripture is that he does not change. His word doesn't change. He does not change. Malachi 3:6 says, "For I, the Lord, do not change. Therefore you, O children of Jacob, are not consumed." Or Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. Or even here, God is not a man that he should lie, or a son of man, meaning human, that he should change his mind. Has he said and will he not do it? Or has he spoken and will not fulfill it? So we're not going to go into this long clip, but he's basically talking about the concerns of Islam. We can go into that on another podcast, but otherwise, this is what we're seeing from America. We're seeing leaders saying to defy, let's just play this clip. Defy orders is what they're saying to do. Here we go.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly. Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy. Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Now they're saying all of this to give themselves the credibility for they're setting this up to what they're going to say next. That they basically have the credentials to say what they're going to say next. Okay? Let me just make that clear. So they're stating their position that they've held. And rightly so, dead man lives. This is treason. Let's hear what they say.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk. This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens. Like us, you all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law
or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army, or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution, and who we are as Americans. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
This is their message. Don't give up the ship. They want you to stand up for our laws and Constitution, but they're saying essentially abandon your post. That you don't have to follow orders. This is interesting. This is what America has come to is going to be a quick downfall if this same mindset is successful in plaguing those in the military, those that serve our country. I mean, who are they exactly? They have their audience, but who in the military are considering this? Just watching your comments here come through. And to end this poll, do you guys think we'll get full transparency? The majority of you say no. 85% of you Overwhelming votes there. We have a constitution in place to protect the people from powerful or from the would-be wannabe kings, the wannabe rulers. America is a nation that is governed by the people. It's a republic. As Benjamin Franklin has said, it's a republic if you can keep it. But if we lose this republic, what happens? What happens? We get democracy. And democracy is really a Marxist idea. As we read before in the Communist Manifesto, of what happens in this instance here. Let's see. I think this is the page here. It says, what does this accusation reduce itself to? The history of all past society has consisted in the development of class antagonisms that assumed different forms of at different epochs. But whatever form they may have taken, one fact is common to all past ages: the exploitation of one part of society by the other. No wonder, then, that the social consciousness of past ages, despite all of the multiplicity and variety it displays, moves within certain common forms or general ideas which cannot completely vanish except with the total disappearance of class antagonisms. The communist revolution is the most radical rupture with traditional property relations. No wonder that its development involves the most radical rupture with traditional ideas. But let us have done with the bourgeoisie objections to communism. We have seen above that the first step in the revolution by the working class is to raise the proletariat to the position of the ruling class to win the battle of democracy. That's where we see it from. And you're right. That's why Democrats keep saying democracy. Democracy, democracy, democracy. What does California say on its flag? Republic of California. We are a republic. And this is, of course, to the Maryland delegate to the Constitutional Convention on the page where McHenry records the events of the last day of the convention, September 18th, 1787. A lady asked Dr. Franklin, "Well, doctor, what have we got, a republic or a monarchy?" And he replies, "A republic." The doctor said, "If you can keep it." Wow. God governs in the affairs of man. And you're right, Zach, for the republic for which it stands. It's in our own Pledge of Allegiance. And what we're pledging to is to what? To the flag of America. To the country. To the republic. Our country can be swept from under our feet in an instant if we don't fight for the traditional values of what our founding fathers wrote in the documents that we have. Indeed, one nation under God. Guys, this has been a wonderful podcast. I hope you guys consider subscribing, like this show, share the podcast, and we'll see you guys in the next one. If you guys have any final thoughts, email me, freedom@equallyyokeshow.com, and we'll see you guys in the next one. God bless.